The story of the prophet Ezekiel is truly an amazing one. We see how from all that is wrong and sad, God leads his people out of exile and he gives them a new life. This new life is offered to us as well, and God only waits till we say yes to cooperate with his grace. Dear friends, there is a great deal to be taken this very Sunday from the first reading of the prophet Ezekiel. But before going to the actual reading, it's also important for us that we learn more about this extraordinary prophet himself. You see, the whole book of Prophet Ezekiel consists of around 48 chapters. And the book tells us the story of the Israelites, who are the people of God, and who are being led into exile, into Babylonia. The book consists of mainly 3 parts, all being so important for us to understand today's message. And so the first part of the book of Prophet Ezekiel tells us the story of this fine man, of Ezekiel himself, who once was a priest, a very young man living in Jerusalem, in the holy place, during the attack of the Babylonians. They spared the holy city that time, but they took some of the captives into exile, into the land of Babylon. And this young man, the priest, Ezekiel, was also one of them. Being led into the land of exile, he sits one day next to the refugee camp by the river, and he receives a fine vision straight from heaven. He sees a cloud approaching to him, and inside the cloud he sees also 4 strange creatures with majestic wings and 4 animal faces, and all together are supporting a platform, a chariot with a throne, and this glowing radiant-like person who is sitting on it. He sees in this vision God's glory, the Ark of the Covenant, which is supposed to be in the temple in Jerusalem, but here it is in the exile, in the land of Babylon, not Israel. And so it's that moment when Ezekiel realizes that God left his holy place in Jerusalem. And because of that, Ezekiel accuses the Israelites that this is because of their unfaithfulness that God has left the temple. But that's not enough. God wants Ezekiel to communicate to the people, to the Israelites, that if they don't change their twisted, crooked ways, something even worse will happen again. That the Babylonians, the occupants, will come once again and not only take the rest of the people of the Israelites into the exile, but also that they will destroy the very temple and the whole city of Jerusalem. And so Ezekiel gives them parables and tries to give signs and symbols of what will happen if they do not change their behavior. But that will break his heart even more, because he will learn soon that no one is going to listen to his words, because the hearts of the Israelites became hard as stone. And so in the book of Prophet Ezekiel, in its second part, God speaks then of the imminent judgment which will come on Israel, on the other nations, and on the whole creation. But then, after that, God speaks not only about the punishment, but even more eagerly about his forgiveness to be given once again, first to Israel, then to the neighboring nations, and finally that this forgiveness can be shown to the whole creation. God promises that even though Israel's idolatry, worship of the false idols has driven them away from God, he won't abandon his people, but that they will soon enough receive new, transformed hearts. And that is the very message lying in the centerpiece of today's first reading. Even though the exile of Israelites became inevitable because of their selfishness and abandoning God's ways, even though the great warnings of the prophet Ezekiel became a sad reality. Despite all of that unfaithfulness, God promises them a new hope, a new king. And that is what we are hearing today in this first reading from Prophet Ezekiel. We read, "I am going to look after my flock myself and keep all of it anew. As a shepherd keeps all his flock in view when he stands up in the middle of his scattered sheep, so shall I keep my sheep in view. I shall rescue them from wherever they have been scattered during mist and darkness." God wanted to take away a heart of stone from them and make them feel once again the Spirit of God, the Spirit of God's presence. And this is where we all are coming in this story, we ourselves. On this solemnity of Christ the King, the end of this liturgical year on one hand, we are also standing on the threshold of the new year, which is going to begin next Sunday, the first Sunday of Advent. And we also look at our lives from very similar perspective as the Israelites did, what we have done right and what we have done wrong. How much our hearts turned into the hearts of flesh, the hearts of love and of care towards God and the neighbors, or perhaps how much it became a heart of stone. In a very exemplary way, Jesus explains it in today's Gospel, very clearly so. "For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you made me welcome. Naked, and you clothed me. Sick, and you visited me. In prison, and you came to see me. In so far as you did this to one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did it to me." We often use this very touchy, beautiful Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd, there is nothing I shall want." And it's rightly so, because it's really moving, it's really deep. But we also need to listen to this shepherd who loves us and who cares for us. We also need to put into practice what this shepherd assures us to be a perfect way of living, a truly happy Christian life. And it happens when we give away from what is ours, whether it's our food, care, time, money, presence. We turn our hearts from cold and make them the hearts of flesh. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my Sunday sermon, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to share it with others. God bless you.